Dustin Malama. I am the Pedestrian Safety Coordinator for the Honolulu Department of Transportation. I'm glad that you can all be here joining us today to learn a little bit about trying to promote walking, biking, and all sorts of other modes of transportation to school. We're going to hope to have the information that our panelists give you to help you give you the tools to promote that and try to plan events around that and just get that going. Especially, giving you some resources and other information. So without further ado, let me introduce our panelists. First, we have up Kealoha Madriga. Sorry, I had it yesterday, mispronounced it this time. But Kealoha, it works for the Hawaii Public Institute. She joined back in March of 2023 as the West Hawaii Tobacco and Heal Coalition Coordinator. Before joining Hi-Fi, Kealoha was engaged in tobacco education, coalition, and policy work with Tobacco Free Hawaii Island for 3 years. She worked as a certified tobacco treatment specialist, where she helped her community quit tobacco use and encouraged healthier lifestyles, and helped organize the Youth Coalition on Hawaii Island, the Hawaii Island Youth Academy. She also has been a huge advocate in her community, promoting and creating a safe environment for keiki on Hawaii Island. Kealoha was born and raised in Hakipu'u. Boy, I'm bad, Dustin Malama. Hakipu'u, Oahu, and moved to Hawaii Island in 2003. Currently residing in the beautiful town of Waimea. During her free time, Kealoha enjoys planting succulents, crafting, going to the beach, and spending time with her family. So thanks for joining us, Kealoha. And then our next panelist is Justin Manina. He joined the Hawaii Department of Health in March of 2023 as the statewide physical activity coordinator before joining the Hawaii Department of Health. Justin served as an AmeriCorps Vista with the Honolulu Complete Streets program for 2.5 years. He worked as the transportation program specialist, supporting the development of several Complete Streets projects and the Kapala Toolbox, Hawaii's first placemaking guide. Justin was born and raised in Honolulu, Oahu, and currently resides in Waikiki. During his free time, Justin enjoys hiking, reading, creative writing, and video gaming. On the subject of gaming, he's currently enthralled with the CRPG Baldur's Gate 3, as am I, buddy. So welcome to our panelists. How are you guys doing today?
Doing terrifically swell, and I am terribly excited to, not terribly, no, I am terrifically excited to discuss our first Walk and Roll to School packet, and serving as a community resource to get our keiki out and be more physically active, and also to be able to walk or bike and roll to school safer.
We're doing good here in Hawaii Island. It is raining in Waimea right now. So we're ready to talk to you folks about this exciting event.
Yeah, you're ready to walk and roll then.
Ready to rock and roll.
So let's talk a little bit, and this can go to both of you. What is a walk and roll to school day or event?
So a walk and roll to school event is an international, something to be part of. International Walk to School Day is observed each year on every first Wednesday of October. The weather is just right in October, depending on where you are in Hawaii. It gives students all over the globe the opportunity to impact on the environment. The observation creates awareness and inspires local action on creating a safer and environmental environment for keiki to commute to and from school. May is a National Bike Month promoted by the League of American Bicyclists and celebrated in communities from coast to coast. National Bike Month is a chance to showcase the many benefits of bicycling. and it encourages more folks to give biking a try. But in Hawaii, we're so privileged to celebrate both October and May in our community. So you can both have, October event or a May event, or you could have both. Justin, you want to elaborate on that?
Certainly. Thank you, Kealoha. In conjunction to what Kealoha has mentioned, really at its core, so a walk and roll school day is an opportunity to activate more of our outdoor spaces in a coordinated community-led approach to provide our keiki and their families the opportunity to become not only more physically active, be able to feel safer walking, rolling, and biking to school, but also do so for many families who may lack a car or are limited by other means, the opportunity to get to school without relying on a vehicle. In Kalihi, for example, and this is also just one example, over a third of families have one or no cars at all, and many of which cannot afford such or for other external factors. But yet much of our infrastructure developed over the past several decades has made it sadly quite difficult for keiki to walk to a school. So focusing on a walk and roll school day again allows for a systemic community-led approach where you can chart outdoor pathways or a collective approach to encourage children to walk and roll to school without having to, again, a vehicle or rely on being dropped off to the school. And there are other factors such as reducing traffic congestion, as I mentioned prior, achieving some form of physical activity, which can lead healthier lives, and overall help parents save money at the gas station, which is, if they own a car right now, as folks know, is quite high.
Sorry, my mute shortcut wasn't working. So, Kealoha, can you tell me a little bit about what you do over at Hi-Fi with the it was the Tobacco and Heal Coalition coordinator. Tell me a little bit about what you do there and your work there.
Right. So I am the West Hawaii Tobacco and Heal Coalition coordinator with Hi-Fi. So part of my role or my kuleana as a Heal coordinator is providing, healthy eating, active living, and promoting that aspect. But Heal is a broad there's so much things that fall under healthy eating, active living. And walk and roll to school is one of the biggest ones that we've been taking a part of. We've created work groups for this. We also have food access. There's also, we're working along a line with food banks, creating a healthy, sorry, I am lagging really badly. Healthy food guideline with our Hawaii Food Bank. We also are working with the Hawaii Food Alliance. Walk and roll to school is part of our organizations we work with as well. But I hope, sorry.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, just to add some context to kind of like your
Yes.
expertise and
Yeah.
why you're with this group. Justin, kind of the same question to you. Can you tell me what your work is as the physical activity coordinator?
Certainly. Thank you, Dustin. In brief, I should give some particular context to why the DOH, as well as other state and county Department of Health are in this space. It starts with that over the last decade, there has been a shift in the conversation that in order to create healthier environments for our children, it's not just from the from being able to achieve rigorous physical activity by just doing XYZ number of jumping jacks or monitoring your potassium level in a banana, what you consume. But fundamentally, our built environment is not safe, or maybe that's perhaps too strong. Let me rephrase that. our built environment is not conducive toward uh, engaging engaging in physical activity, and nor is it conductive as well to helping reduce cost burdens for families. So within this context in mind, as well as in recognition that we are trying to achieve county-led Vision Zero objectives, our goal is to support how do we get our children and their families to be able to get to and from school without having to own a vehicle, which, as I mentioned prior, is a cost burden. Walking and biking is a really effective way, and even aside, ignoring the fact that sometimes there's this ongoing endeavor to develop infrastructure, even where there's infrastructure in place, like parents don't know where to begin the process. Like I live, for example, in Waikiki, for example. There is a fairly well-developed infrastructure, but there is no children don't really walk to school there. So how do you approach that? Organizing it, and then say a walking road to school day, and with parents, with parental teacher, even principal guidance and initiative, that is one way to circumvent that. So that's where I'm in this space, is helping to provide some of the programmatic support, as well as look at how to refine these endeavors.
Great. And for our audience members, to tell you guys about what I do is that being the pedestrian safety coordinator for Honolulu's Department of Transportation, my main thing is to educate people on the best practices and how to be safe while walking our streets. Not so much the health benefits, although, you know, we can all talk about that and why that's good. But, you know, my main concern is stopping serious injury, especially stopping fatalities, and focusing on that, finding the problems and addressing it, and finding a way to communicate to people and educate them. And then secondary, all traffic safety as well, but primarily my focus is in pedestrian safety. So I guess that kind of leads me to another question for you, Justin, talking about, like, since my focus isn't necessarily on the health benefits, also Kealoha, you can chime in too, but both of you are very health oriented and trying to have people be healthier. Can you talk about some of the benefits that children have with walking or biking to school, either physical or mental?
Yeah, you know, it has so many benefits on, like, you know, it helps with attendance, independence, providing independence for a child to, you know, be accountable, wake up on time in order to get to school, to take that time to kind of think like, okay, I can get up, I can get to school at this amount of time. And it builds like very strong independence to do that. And it promotes them to like, hey, I can do this, and I can eventually have siblings help me and do this. Um, for some schools, it's hard. You know, I understand that schools are farther than other schools. But providing, like, you know, even a walking school bus in my community, in Waimea, it's very hard. Schools are in farther than, for us, it's a commute of maybe 5 to 10 minutes, give or take for the traffic. Other schools on Oahu, Kauai, Maui is different. But we as a school in our community has chosen to do like a walking school bus, which is another alternative to celebrating these walk-in world to school events, which is great. Kids get super excited, incentives are involved, and you know, it teaches them life skills, healthy habits, get up to school, walk, and it promotes their energy, kind of maybe, you know, get a little excited, but you know, it be ready for that mind to be ready to get to learn. It mitigates traffic congestion, you know, less vehicles on the road. And I spoke about in attendance, you know, perfect attendance is perfect, but you know, sometimes we can be in a school more than if the traffic is a problem. here our traffic is crazy, not as crazy as Oahu, but um, it's perfect. You know, it's a good way to promote healthy living, walking to school, biking to school. Um, I really am an advocate of this, and I hope that others do see that, you know, this is a very good thing to start at a young age to promote as they get older.
And real quick, can you explain to those who might not know what a walking school bus is?
Sure. So a walking school bus is really you meet at like a remote location. So there it'll be like, you know, whatever is close to your school. It could be a police station, it could be a fire station, it could be just a mutual location that everyone could meet and eventually walk to school. Some ideas is we met at the police station, walked along the sidewalk where it's safe for kids can walk to school. Um, we've had volunteers, staff members, principals join us that we were able to escort a bunch of 10. We had 10 at least join our walking school bus.
Excellent. And then we have our panelists on our next session on Thursday who will be specifically talking about walking school bus. So for anyone who's interested in that, please join or register for that session. One of them is, well, I work with both, but I work closely with Yumato Sasaki, who's the city and county Safe Routes to School coordinator. So they have some great information on that. And Justin, do you have anything to add to the health benefits and everything with biking and walking?
Everything that Kealoha mentions, I would just repeat and concur. I would just mention there are the figures in Hawaii to encourage physical activities for you to target towards our youth and adolescents is particularly paramount because at least according to recent CDC guidelines, Hawaii ranks below average in terms of youth achieving recommended physical activity of between of at least moderate to vigorous physical activity of at least 1 hour, and much of that can be achieved captured just at least on the given basis, just walking or biking to school. And that's also that's just okay. I should give one example. I believe for female children, female youth, it's the metric that achieves those guidelines is around, I think, 14-15%. I just know, although not for this context here, it seems to actually be decreases when we get older as well too. So like for adolescent female adolescents, it's 11%, which is that's a trend that should not be happening.
And yeah, I mean, I myself don't have any children, but so most of my knowledge on this is back when I was a kid. Now, I wasn't allowed to walk or bike to school until I started junior high, even though there were a couple times I would try to do it on my own and got in trouble, but succeeded safely. But I remember a lot of my memories, you know, Kealoha, when you mentioned that getting to school on time, getting yourself up. I, in high school especially, was good at that because I had joined an extracurricular activity that started before school started. So I had to be there an hour before school started, and I had to get up on my own. And at the time, it was a jazz band. I was playing trumpet, so I'd bring my instrument with me, and it was inconvenient to bike, so I just walked to school with my trumpet. And yeah, that got me, you know, I wanted to get there 15 minutes early to warm up, and then we had our hour-long class and all of that. So I can definitely attest from firsthand experience how that sense of independence and being able to just get ready on my own, and it's something, you know, I'm doing to this day, is getting up at 5 a.m. to go up and, you know, get to work. So definitely a very helpful benefit on mental health. And, you know, I did enjoy my walks. It was a little half hour time to myself that I got to decompress. So we can talk a little bit about, we're all in this work group that is working to support folks interested in hosting a walk and roll to school event. Can you guys tell me more about this group and what we're doing? Kayla, let's start with you.
Sure. So we in conjunction with Department of Transportation combined where we joined a work group, and we were able to just create this safe space for us to, you know, collaborate and provide this space to educate others on, you know, walking and rolls events, what it is to walk to school work group. We have policy that we work on as well. We also are working, sorry. Oh,
No worries.
okay. I think the rain in Waimea is getting to
Mm.
my internet, so bear with me. So yes, so we have been able to, you know, with all these other minds that come from DOT, Dustin, Justin, we were able to create this resource packet to give out to schools to encourage having these events, whether it was a walk and roll to school day or was a walking school bus. So we were able to create a packet that we will be able to share and go over with you. And this all came out of our work group of amazing people. If we wanted to share that now.
No, we got that on the docket for a little
Oh,
later.
okay.
Well, we'll go over that. Justin, can you maybe talk a little bit about what our work group is kind of focusing on, kind of our goal, and I think something about HB 600, I think, if you know about that one.
Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Dustin. Yes, I'm really excited to elaborate on this further. In brief, our statewide walk and roll to school Hui grew out of our much larger monthly Safe Routes to School coalition that developed over the past several years, has come to comprise of multiple community, state, county, and nonprofit groups and advocates, including figures such as, you know, including legislators, basically nonprofits, teachers, among the like. We've all came together across these sectors to advance fundamentally safe routes to school. And much of our work over the past few years this year culminated into the passage of HB 600, which is a highly expanded safe routes to school bill. For those who are not familiar, HB 600 would allocates $20 million, $10 million over the next 2 years to safe routes to school projects across the entire state. And from this group, from this safe routes to school group, a smaller work group that we are presenting today was born to focus specifically on supporting school communities interested in hosting their own walk and roll school events. We especially feel like, in conjunction to the larger conversations of not only helping communities and the keiki that reside within them, not only be able to become more actively mobile, help with families, help reduce, achieve their own physical and health goals, community goals, largely speaking, reduce the other tertiary ancillary benefits that Kealoha mentioned, such as reducing traffic congestion, improving child independence. I'm trying to forgive me, my apologies, folks. I'm operating on 2 cups of coffee today when I normally operate on 4. So
only 2.
Please bear that in mind.
Oh,
Exactly,
man.
only 2. It's
I've had my 5.
terrible thing. But as I was saying, that is really the sum of our group here. Again, the probably is a extension or born thus out of the Save Routes to School Coalition, and we have multiple county stakeholders, including aside from Hawaii State Department of Health, the Hawaii Institute for Public Health, HIFI, the City and County of Honolulu's Department of Transportation, and as this group expands, we're hoping to eventually seek additional stakeholders engagement across all the other counties.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Let me get my notes up here. And I know from working with this group, especially, so I'm fairly new myself to the pedestrian safety game and especially transportation needs. I think I forgot to go over my background to our attendees. I am from Kaneohe, graduated from Castle High School. I did the whole Ben Parker King Castle circuit. And I got involved in video editing and TV production when I was in junior high through my church. And after I graduated high school, I started working for a TV studio out here called Sight and Sound Studios. And just from then on, I just did the wedding game, shot a lot of weddings, did all that. And I eventually worked my way through into KITV News and worked as a news cameraman there for a few years before trying to make it big in Hollywood. And then I came home, worked at Hawaii News Now, again as a news camera operator, and eventually wanted better hours and better pay, and found my way to the city and county, if you can imagine that, for being both. And got into public communication. I was public information officer for the Honolulu Emergency Services Department, which, if you don't know, oversees the Honolulu Emergency Medical Services, which is the ambulances and the paramedics that are in them, and then also the ocean safety lifeguards. So I would have to write press releases and also do PR events for lifeguards and EMS. Brief back to Los Angeles, working as a camera operator again, and then COVID hit and all the work went away, and that's how I found myself back home, working with you fine folk. So being that I was fairly new to this whole thing, the last almost 3 years now has been kind of a major learning phase for me. And getting information from you guys, getting information from all these committees and being on the work groups. But I have to say, I am very excited about this particular work group we're in, because this is probably already one of the most productive ones. I've been so busy lately, I've forgotten how long we've been meeting for, but I think at least 3, maybe 4 months now. And we've already are doing this, our first event ever. And the fine people like Jess and Kayla, so many more. I don't got a whole name list right now, but especially Jess Thompson and Bev Brody, who's speaking next on Thursday, doing a phenomenal job and creating these packets and getting resources. And I'm very excited to getting to that point to show to you. So that is my background. But yes, I'm very excited about our walk and roll work group that's going to help support you guys and making walking and biking more common. I think it's a great way to get around. I've been doing it for years. I even did a 10-year stint not owning a car. So although now that I did Mililani, very grateful I have it, but I do bus to work mostly, and just commuting via walking or biking is just natural for me, and it's a great way to be active. So let's see if there's any other things that we should touch upon on the work group. I think we about covered it for now. We might talk a little more on the next session with Yamato and Bev, but let's talk a little bit about why would a school be interested in doing a walk and roll day? And whoever wants to take it first.
Yeah, so like we mentioned, it helps with attendance, the traffic congestion, build independence. We talked about life skills and healthy habits. You know, Dustin now he's a witness to walking and rolling to school. He now uses that as he was a young kid. Now he does it as he's an adult. So it really promotes that at an older age when you get older. And, you know, you look back at that time, like for me, I never was able to walk and roll to school. But if I did and I was given that opportunity at that age, I really would love to do that. You know, you build so many memories for the kids that I spoke with in our school, in our community. They look forward to these events. They are more engaged and at 8 o'clock in the morning after they've walked to school. And they look forward to it after school. They walk home. You know, they have a bunch of their friends that they are the usuals to walk and bike to school. Providing that place for that student to have them store their bike is another option to think about too. And walking, maybe they have to find a friend that actually walks to school. We are planning to do a pledge. We've worked with Keiki Heroes. If you guys don't know what Keiki Heroes, they do like those little sketchbooks that we are working on for a walk and roll to school theme. And that will be kind of an incentive for those who are walking and rolling to school. When they get to school, this is like the most exciting part, like, hey, they've completed. It's like finishing a race. But you know, we want to make it like an everyday race to school. Like I walk to school, I roll to school. So finding what your kids or your keiki in your community look forward to. You know, if it's like a big celebration or, you know, we've had small ones, we have big ones where you have balloons and like little incentive or, you know, you get a little breakfast for them or there's so many ideas to promoting and what drives them to come into these events.
Justin, you want to expand upon that at all on what why would a school be interested in doing that?
Certainly.
I mean, I think we talked a little bit about this, but sorry.
No, you're fine, totally fine. I everything that Kealoha says has stated is true, speaks truth to the fact that, you know, children really do benefit and they find these events to be engaging and exciting. Speaking topically on my experience with working with teachers and school officials, it's beneficial for them as well too. So to give you an personal anecdote, a few months ago, I was in doing data collection in Nuwanu along the elementary and middle school there. And a common theme that came up was, I believe I forget her name, but I spoke with one of the vice principals that they had expressed, you know, a lamentation that not enough kids were walking or commuting by bus because one of the issues that came up, especially in a smaller, older community, was traffic congestion. It really backs up. And I'm very sure many folks know that when you're on H1 and, you know, say for just an example, traffic, you just want to pull your hair out. Now, imagine if you're a parent on their way to work, but they're dropping their child off, or maybe they're not going to work, but they have other errands they have to take care of. Traffic congestion in small neighborhoods can be really tenuous. And also, that traffic congestion just doesn't affect parents, you know, like feeling agitated or wasting their time. And also for the parents walking or biking and walk with their children to school, that traffic congestion bottleneck can be harmful to them as well too. For other factors such as increasing, you know, potential accidents, potential just maybe, you know, clog points along getting to school, delaying as well. So, and I won't even go into like air or noise pollution. That's a whole separate thing that really I don't think people look at, but it can be very harmful to communities. But that's the end of my anecdote. But what came of that conversation was from speaking to the assistant principal, they have no idea where to begin. Like, and it's true, and it sounds like it doesn't make sense. Like, just take your child to school. Well, unless you don't know where to begin or like how to have like a school or community-led endeavor that supports a sustainable and consistent like process, then it will never happen. Maybe one event, two events will happen, but they fizzle out. But it's really developing that sustainability and also engaging community buy-in as well too is really important. And I should mention that there's like a lot of principals and teachers know, even parents know that we are making, at least I can only speak on behalf of City and County Honolulu, that we are making strides toward more walkable, bikeable places. So the opportunity is right now. So like in Nuuanu, we have a Nuuanu Complete Streets project. Waikiki, we have one there across the community, and even more so, goodness willing, in the near and intermediate futures. So now, if there's ever a time to start walking on a school day, or days even plural, now's the time.
Yeah, and I think we kind of gone over the other things about how it helps attendance, mitigates traffic congestion, gives the child a sense of independence. We've covered the examples of life skills and healthy habits. But as my part as the pedestrian safety coordinator, I know that the best way to make our streets safer are to get rid of the cars, right? And actually, quick question for both you and Justin and Kealoha. Do you guys have kids? I don't.
Yes, I have
do.
2 girls. Yeah, they attend Waimea Elementary, but it's just for me to drop off the kids in the morning. Traffic is
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
We have to walk across the street to go to school because, there's not many parking at the school. So we park across the street, walk across the crosswalk, and then walk to school. So it's like, we have to give and take that time to leave the house, get to school on time. So, we participate in this walk and roll every day. But for, some kids, this is normal. We're just trying to make this, a normal commute to school.
Yeah, Justin, kids?
And as I don't have any children, but
No.
my closest was when I was visiting my nephew in Nevada, staying at my cousin's place for a few days. During the school day, I would volunteer to walk him to school. And sometimes he would be picked up by his mom later because it was it's easier in the day, it's easier in the morning for him, but then evening because the different climate. Though when I do have every intention of, and this is just between you and me now, with my partner,
and our 11 or
eventually
16 great friends, yeah.
Yes, thank you. So just for all you listening, this is a secret. I'm joking. I do have intention of adopting and having when I become a responsible adult, as I'm still in the adulting stage, I have every intention to walk and help be a good parent, walk them over to school.
Yeah, I'm a bit older than you. I'm still waiting to get into the adulting phase as a childless bachelor myself. But I bring that up because we all have different experiences of the traffic congestion around schools, and especially in my job with doing sign waving sometimes at schools to remind people to slow down. I get a lot of complaints from teachers, students about the traffic activity, especially in the morning hours when people are trying to commute to work during the same time. Maybe their main thoroughfare is the only way to get to the freeway is to go past the school. And so what you're having is you have people lining up to drop off their kids. You're having people that are getting agitated, irritated, and they're driving recklessly and speeding around cars in a 1-lane road. They're making it a 2-lane road. I've also seen people doing U-turns and crosswalks in those areas. And I'm bringing this up because, again, as my position as a pedestrian safety coordinator, there's this thing that we're going around. I think OSHA came up with it. It's the hierarchy of controls, right? And it's like, what is the most effective way to make things safer and the least effective way? And one of the most effective way to remove a hazard is just to eliminate it completely, right? Get rid of the thing. Now, I know we're not going to get rid of cars completely, but then there's substitution right under it as far as effectiveness. And that can be walking, biking, which would result in less cars, result in less congestion, result in, less frustration, and all of that. And that's so important. And I think that's why, on top of everything, it's just all these little things. There's not just one benefit from walking and rolling to school. There's just so many, it affects so many things in our community, as you mentioned, Justin, noise pollution and pollution and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely. I think we all here are very much in step with getting into promoting this as an alternative to driving. So I think we're going to move on to the resource pack. But before we do that, just audience members, just a reminder, there is a Q&A button that if you click, you can put in some questions. So we're going to do a quick Q&A session before our time is up and answer any questions that we may have. So if you have any questions, hit that Q&A button, enter it there, and we're going to do our best to start. So yeah, who wants to talk about our resource packet?
Okay. So this was created by our work group, our walk-in roll to school work group. One of our members, will shout her out, Yamato, has created this wonderful resource packet to make it an easier way to host one of these things. Whether you had questions, how do you get involved, when you can celebrate them, and that's some of the stuff that we went over previously to this resource packet. But Hawaii Department of Education encourages students and staff to walk and bike to school if reasonably safe to do so. Walking and biking are healthy, fun, and environmental friendly alternatives to driving. They provide numerous benefits for children's physical and emotional cognitive development. So we highly encourage these events, and explain why we like to host a walk and roll to school. The benefits of active travel supports Ohana who choose to actively travel, promotes active travel as a viable option to get to school. It also reduces tardiness, so attendance is a big one, and it builds a sense of community and encourages school participation. Justin, you want to take the next one?
Certainly. Could you go down to the next two pages 2, 3, and 4? Thank you. So the main the further component is, as I mentioned, one of the key obstacles towards developing a successful walk and roll to school day or days, which will also be further discussed in the next webinar on the 31st, is really this is fundamentally a community-led process, and it's a big component of that that should be wholeheartedly embraced is developing community buy-in, and also in conjunction to that, creating sustainability in its approach. So I think I can't speak on behalf of my colleagues, but I think they would concur with me that this guide, I think, is able to convey the necessary requirements and also the pre-planning, and as well as post-planning as well too, on developing a walk and roll to school day. If you go further down, Kayla. Thank you. So as you see, there is a fairly rigorous list steps of courses. So one of the things I really look at is evaluation, collecting your data on for organizers who have capacity, because with that data you can see what's succeeded, what's perhaps can be tweaked, maybe it's not necessary. So like depending on the start day or perhaps a location instead. So maybe meeting at a park or at a local community venue before walking or rolling to school is maybe that's the objective. Determine your supplies. So like, or even like maybe on an inaugural walk around school day at a particular school, maybe you want to do something more special, like awarding out prizes. But if you award out prizes, you'll need tables, a little shade, a pop-up tents, because mornings get really hot and humid, depending on where you live though. And also additional resources like the National Walk Bike to School .org website has even further expanded information. Could you scroll down to the next 4th page, please?
And this
Thank
is,
you.
I think, one of the most important too, because you can plan an event all you like, but if you don't promote it, you're not going to get anybody to show up.
Right, right. And you could promote this event, with families, friends, staff, students, whether you have like community leaders, community members, volunteers. What this packet pretty much promotes is the event, but it also provides you that support that you will need to have these events. So, you could come out with flyers, posters, banners. The school newsletters is always a good one. It'll always be in your email that schools usually send out. Social media is a big one. It promotes, your school has a social media account. And if you do plan an event, we are more than happy to promote this event, and we can share it on our social media platforms as well. Class projects is another one. Class projects is a benefit of walking and rolling to school. We have schools that promote it on like I walk to school because, or I like to walk and roll to school because certain projects that promote this event. And then safety, providing or educating that little piece in class about safety, um, road safety awareness, and kind of seeing how we can get these children or Keiki ready for this event, is another way we do promote this. Coordinating the day event is a welcome table, like Justin said, a little celebration of them kind of coming to school, bike and scooter locking location, incentives for participants. Incentives is a big one, that's their buy-in, like, oh, what do I get for walking and rolling to school? Recognizing local officials and leaders, we have some that participate in our community, and to these little kids, they think they're like the best people, and like they're walking with the mayor, walking with your community leader or council member. So getting them involved is a big thing that we promote. Pictures and videos for future promotion materials. We love to promote them. While we were creating this packet, we've had schools that Bev participated, and she's always been successful with her events on Kauai. Gathering data, how many came, how many participated, how many families joined their student on these events. Could you go down a little bit more? Yes, thank you. And post-event evaluations, what can we do better? We did this event. How can we improve the next event? If you want to promote another event to do this next year, how can it be better?
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so we've got about 10 minutes left. Attendees, if you do have any questions, now is a good time. Either put it in the chat or the Q&A box. Unfortunately, one of our fantastic staff was able to answer this in the Q&A box. But the question was, what is the liability for the school with something like walking school buses? Is the school responsible if something happens on the route? And do you guys have any knowledge on the liability issue? I know I'm not a lawyer, so it's not my expertise. If not, I can
I'm
just read the answer that was there.
Oh yeah, no, I see. Yeah, if the liability is a concern, you can certainly have a parent who participate. And that is usually how it does go. You'll have a parent come with the child that will escort them to um not necessarily that you're liable, or there is more into depth on or they included our hifi.org/walk-in-roll that we have this resource and liability form, I believe, on that website as well. But I can read the answer. So walk-in-roll to school events are generally hosted by PTA or PTO as a project of group or committed staff and parent volunteers. Um, and that is something they take on. So we do reach out to PTO, PTA. If liability is a concern, you can certainly have a parent who participates fill out a permission slip that releases liability. And we will provide this resource packet that we did share, as well as promotional flyers and general release of liability template for Safe Routes to School to all webinar attendees at the end.
Excellent. And yeah, I know liability is scary. I do like to tell everybody in the city when we're dealing with things, at least on the city and county, I'm sure the state too, we're really good at avoiding liability. So it is always an important thing to think about and concern yourself with. And then hopefully the packet, let's see if that is, we able to send that? Yes, good. We sent that to everybody in chat, the link to the packet, and then review that. And then we'll make sure if you have any other questions, we have our contact information we'll be putting up here at the end. And you can, of course, ask us questions if there's something we haven't covered here on this panel today. Let me just make sure that we do not have any other outstanding questions in the chat. Looks like yeah, that's it for our questions online right now. So up on the screen right now, you've got some of our contact information. You've got Kayla Huz and well, Justin's isn't there, but if we need Justin's, we can get that to you easily. And and our panelists for tomorrow, Yamato and Bev are there as well. So we got all the counties covered. And yeah, guys, is there yeah, thanks, Justin. Oh, let me put mine in too. So the thing is, Justin, I've noticed us panelists can't send everybody the chat. It's only going to the hosts and panelists. So if I can have someone put in Justin in my contact in the chat, just in case people have any questions. So yeah, is there anything else? We've got a few minutes left. Anything else that you guys want to talk about that we haven't covered?
Dustin, if I may, I would like to give a shout out to it's an Instagram link for folks may access. So for those who are not aware, we have the first ever health and physical activity hub for Hawaii, or the HAPA hub, which it's still an early development process, but what it is it is the forthcoming hub for active and multimodal transportation in Hawaii, containing not only just the resources for all the transportation resources or modes across all the counties, but also aspirationally not only serving as a community resource for like walkable to school, but also in the future, safe routes to school, quick build projects and the like. For those who are inclined to Instagram, please consider giving a follow. and keep an eye out for future updates when the website goes live later in September.
Excellent. And also I noticed that in the chat is also the walk and roll Instagram, walk.bike.roll.bus.808. So please give that a follow up. We're going to be playing around a lot and trying to find different and interesting ways to communicate and also help you guys get the resources you need to promote and plan and do this kind of stuff throughout the school year. So we're very happy to be working together. And again, a lot of committees and stuff, especially advisory committees. You know, I feel we talk a lot about the things that we're doing that's somewhat effective, but it's great to be part of a work group that is getting stuff done. Kealoha, do you have anything you want to add before we close?
No, I think this is great. We look forward to working with each and every one of you, whether you're on Oahu or Maui or Kauai, even Hawaii Island, we look forward to working with you. Um, don't worry, just reach out to us if you have any questions, if you want to learn more about or something that we didn't talk about today, just reach out to us. Any one of us will be able to answer your questions. But yeah, we look forward to providing this safe commute to school for our keiki in our community. So mahalo, mahalo.
All right. So that is going to conclude this session. I hope to see you all or even more there on Thursday. Same bat time, different bat channel. Hopefully everybody is my age or older to get that reference. That's an oldie but a goodie. So yeah, thank you all for coming. I'm glad that we were able to talk and kind of talk story a little bit about these things. And I think we got more to come, and let's help you guys walk and roll. So mahalo.
Mahalo, everyone.
Mahalo, stay safe out there.